Hey everyone, on this channel, I've reacted to a couple of stories of immature people that have somehow made a living by making stuff that would only seem interesting to a kid, but somehow find demographic and equally minded grandchildren. Most of the time, I go into these videos knowing very little about the topic, but for this, I was right off the bat hating this guy, David Portnoy, the owner of Barstool Sports. The company has a lot of branches and has made multiple stuff that might have led you to know about them, but I only know it from the god-awful Twitter account they run that just posts worthless stuff and act like it's massive news. One funny thing about the owner, David Portnoy, is that he has somehow retained the same college mindset he's had since when he first started the company years and years ago. And you think he'd change, or at least be a tiny bit more mature, but he seems to be one of those people that can make money by just being an annoying person they are.
Many people only know Dave Portnoy as the social media guy with really good opinions on pizza, but he is the founder and owner of Barstool Sports, a company he sold for $551 million.
That already tells me so much about his character, because I hate that account on Twitter. If you wanna have the urge to put a shotgun barrel down your throat, go on that account on Twitter.
Accused of just about every horrible thing you can imagine. Now, Dave put himself in these situations with his own words or actions. Frat boy jokes like, if you're a size 6 and you're wearing skinny jeans, you kind of deserve to be didn't help him when one of his rendezvous with a 19-year-old turned into a very serious allegation. And whenever a new controversy comes up, he doesn't run to a PR team. He broadcasts his responses raw and unfiltered, never apologizing because he doesn't think he has done anything wrong. His bold approach.
How broke are you to have a mic stand on that water cooler? Surely you can buy one on IKEA for like $10.
Making Dave grow.
Oh, is he on the UFC? Oh, he was in the UFC.
See him as some sort of pizza-eating, gambling supervillain, wondering when all of this will reach a tipping point.
He looks like some, what do you call it, midlife crisis version of Mark Zuckerberg. Just that same, like, he lost a lizard face, but he became like a gambler. That's just disgusting.
That meant so much to him, he would dedicate his whole life to it. In June of 2003, the very first issue of the Barstool Sports newspaper hit the streets of Boston. The only newspaper in Boston written by the common man, for the common man. The people at Barstool
so generic. By the common man, for the common man.
Guys love sports, gambling, golfing, and chasing short skirts. Dave drove around in his Astro van, dropping the paper off at newsstands, bars, and subway stations, hoping people would read his work. At the time, Dave didn't really know what he wanted to do or how he could make money from it, but he was fixated on building a community of other guys just like him. Unfortunately, from the very beginning, Dave...
If there was a room with people that look just like him, it would be the worst possible. It would be the worst collection of human beings in the world.
Managing his money. He was working some corporate sales job making around $100,000 per year, but spending it all and then some. In 2004, he owed $59,000 to credit card companies and $18,000 to his father. On top of that, he had lost $30,000 gambling, which led to him filing for bankruptcy. Barstool had a tough time taking off since nobody really wanted to read about a Sunday afternoon with the guys watching football. Dave knew he needed something more exciting.
Oh my, that's such a lazy idea for a newspaper. That is right. Why would you want to go out of your way of having a good time to read about someone else having a good time on your behalf? The idea sounds kind of cute, like having your own newspaper during college or whenever it was, like in uni. But if you're doing it by yourself, there's probably like a smidget of news every day that you can actually fill up on a page and give it to people that would actually want to read it. I mean, right now on screen he's showing like a cover of like a more modern version, 2005. But even then he has to have like a group of people to help him make like each publication. But when you're by yourself, then I'm not surprised people don't want to read a single page of you like going to a bar with your friends. That's not gonna be interesting.
Professional models and paying for erotic photo shoots to blast on the front page. Dave's readers increased exponentially due to the Miss Barstool competition, which featured girls answering questions like, do you want guys to stare at you when you wear a bikini?
Go back a second. Girl A or B, is that like you have to pick which one's hotter? That's literally like the game from The Social Network, where you pick who's uglier.
Like, do you want guys to stare at you when you wear a bikini to the beach? And would you ever hook up with a married man? The winner of each week's competition would get chosen at the Miss Barstool Sports Party, which was Dave's way of luring guys into small bar parties that he would throw to build the Barstool brand.
Just what guys want to do. They just want to sit around all day, kind of drink a lot, get a little bit banged up and lose some money on basketball. So that's what the common guy likes doing. That's what we do.
Portnoy knew exactly who his target target market was: pick-me girls and guys who peaked in high school. Once he launched the Barstool blog online, he was able to expand into
You know, even though that is like a miserable demographic, if you recognize how disgusting your audience is, you can make some money off them.
To talk about boring stats and game strategy. Barstool delved into the personal lives of athletes and unapologetically trashed their performances. They also doubled down on content like Guess That Ass, Local Smoke Show of the Day, and Smoke Smash, which was basically a smash or pass style voting game but for Northeastern college girls. Barstool Sports ironically got more popular and known for introducing you to good-looking girls in your area than for talking about sports. With this digital transformation, Portnoy became more of a celebrity, dubbed El Presidente or Prez for short. Some of Barstool's writers became celebrities.
Isn't it just like the Bart's name in The Simpsons, El Barto?
The most prominent, known to not hold back on their takes. You're a Santonio Holmes, a coward, a pathetic excuse for a professional athlete, just downright despicable. But there was another Barstool legend you might recognize, Jenna Marbles. Jenna wrote and made content with Barstool before she started her YouTube channel. Barstool fans loved that Jenna understood what guys liked. She was funny, and most importantly, she posted scantily clad photos of herself on the site. Jenna was also
You definitely don't regret that down the line.
The girl wanted to talk to them.
Would you rather have brunch with the cops, or would you rather sleep with the
Jenna, as well as other girls, served as promoters for the Barstool parties, which led to hundreds, sometimes thousands of fans showing up for the festivities. Iconic catchphrases like Viva la Stool and Stoolapalooza ran rampant throughout colleges in the early 20s.
I'm not gonna lie, for this video, I've seen like seven guys who look the exact same. It's creepy.
To capitalize on the loyalty of these students, Portnoy launched the Stoolapalooza tour with Sammy Adams, 6 shows in northeastern colleges in which he was expecting to have a couple hundred attendees. Then the school started offering the large auditoriums, and at the blink of an eye, they were selling thousands of tickets. They followed the series with the Barstool Blackout Tour, a neon and blacklight themed live concert series across the eastern United States that featured the likes of Sammy Adams.
There's no way a place like that would be clean if you put a blacklight on it.
They built a reputation for being the craziest college party promoters in the country, which would only end badly. In April of 2012, 24 young...
You can tell it with this guy's videos, Patrick CC. It gets bad when he cuts through like footage of him talking.
A month before that, a Barstool Blackout show was abruptly cancelled, with arrests made and over 300 counterfeit ID cards being seized. To make things worse, they were accused of it and over 300 counterfeit ID cards being seized. To make things worse,
I understand that is illegal, but that's probably the one time, because I feel like finding a fake ID is like a fantasy crime, like jaywalking, where it's not that big of an issue, but you still have to like enforce it. But having 300 fake IDs confiscated, that should be like the highlight of those police's day.
Thing to prove, that is, until people read Dave's personal blog in 2010, where he wrote, "Even though I never condone rape, if you're a size 6 and you're wearing skinny jeans, you kind of deserve to be raped, right?" The 33-year-old also said the following: "We don't condone rape of any kind at our blackout parties. However, if a chick passes out, that's a gray area." Now, most people are quick to say that Dave...
Actual Vikings, but less honorable, because they don't go out and do actual fights.
...around his buddies in the bar. On an interview with Inside Edition, Dave doubled down on his comments.
You posted the following on your site: "I never condone rape, but if you're a size 6 and you're wearing skinny jeans, you kind of deserve to be raped."
Correct. I stand by that. I think it's a funny joke.
You think it's funny?
No, I didn't say that. I think it's a funny joke.
You can't shame me. I'm proud of my humor.
Obviously don't.
Others argued that these jokes...
I wish in that interview they got like some massive 8-foot tall guy to like scare him into being like, "Yeah, I regret that joke. Please just don't hurt me."
And objectification of women throughout the Barstool culture promotes men assaulting or at least harassing women. In August of 2011, Portnoy faced further backlash after posting explicit images featuring the 2-year-old son of legendary quarterback Tom Brady. The photo was a leaked paparazzi image of Tom's family at the beach, and his baby boy was naked. The article was posted to the Barstool Sports page titled, "Check out the howitzer on
I know people
Brady's
make fun of this
kid."
guy, the football player that I know, Tom Brady. But how deranged do you have to be to take a picture of him at the beach and post it? Maybe if you took it by accident, you weren't knowing because you're from a distance. Because most journalists are like vultures. They watch from a distance. But even then, why would you still publish it.
basically a military-grade cannon. The photos also accompanied a short article glamorizing and psychoanalyzing the child's genitalia, but Dave said his comments were not sexual.
David, thanks for being with us. I want to ask you first of all, because I've got people saying
That is the eyes of a guy that does not care about talking a kid's dick.
boys' private parts. You're on the air. What do you say?
Yeah, I don't see it that way at all. I don't think it's out of line at all, or else I wouldn't have posted it.
How then would you describe how you describe the little boy's private parts?
I said he had a big house.
They should have had
Despite all the
Chris
backlash,
Hansen on
Dave
it.
did not think he did anything wrong, nor did he want to delete the post. I had no intentions of taking it down until the visit from the cops. I met with them, they asked me to take it down in the best interest of everybody involved. I told them I'd call them back in an hour with my decision, and then took it down. I basically didn't want to get into a pissing contest with the cops or the state. There's no such thing as
There's no way you could see a chance of you winning, like defending yourself or having a picture of a kid's dick on your website. That's one thing that's weird about this guy. Like, he really looks like the average person you see at a bar or college that you spoke to like maybe 2 times in class and then you never saw him again. But then when you see the kind of stuff that he does for money or just to be famous, it's the kind of stuff that you would never expect him to say or you'd be appalled by. Like, I guess that's one winning factor that made him so popular. Like, not only does he look like the average person, but he acts like it. But he's more toned up to 10 because he doesn't regret the jokes, which I feel like is a huge missing factor for what makes someone a grown-up regretting what they say.
continued to benefit him and the Barstool brand, attracting more guys who loved raunchy humor, gambling, and sports. He also attracted more haters, who formed an alliance called Knockout Barstool, a group created in opposition of the blog's use of jokes and light attitude towards...
It's so funny that they have a Tumblr page. That's such a good fitting place for them if they want to take down Barstool.
Now we're driving over to a mass protest about me.
Perpetuating culture. Victim blaming. Sexism. Misogyny.
Oh, is that him? I saw he was part of the crowd. I was about to say, that's pretty bold to walk into a crowd of women that would gut you alive.
You need to identify them and make them known.
Protests moved outside of the
God,
event
this
where
guy.
partiers dressed in neon clothing encouraged the chaos.
That guy in white looked like a twink. What was he doing in the macho group?
Action.
And what I was gonna say is, listen, we're anti just as much as you. We don't believe in it. You guys are taking 2 jokes that were clearly satirical, blowing them out of proportion. We're on your side in that we don't like. You guys are just fighting the wrong battle.
You would think that Barstool was drowning in
I
money.
just want to
due
say
to-
now, because that's such a weird offense to make, because that one sentence that kind of blew him up was like it was very bare bones. Like, it was barely even a joke. But the second people started attacking him for it, he was like, it was a joke. Like, it was more structured like a statement than a joke,
Profit
you know?
margins on these live shows were slim, and it cost tens of thousands of dollars to book talent. Dave ran the website out of his messy apartment with his small team of loyal bloggers. Ad revenue earned from the
place is a
website
mess.
traffic was barely enough to keep them afloat. Dave was now in his mid-30s and refused to give up on his dream. As we approached the mid-20s,
Was that his mom on the right, being pissed off at him?
sites like Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, and YouTube were taking up more of our time, especially Barstool sports fans' time. They stopped printing the newspaper and fully focused on digital. The Barstool YouTube channel posted
better, yeah.
casual vlogs.
I want to see where this goes, because this, like the history of Barstool Sports, is a very huge shift from the garbage count that is right now on Twitter.
And Blind Mike that kept the fandom locked in. The Bro Show was one of their more popular series. Pardon My Take was their comedic sports podcast, which featured controversial sports opinions. The guys also hosted a daily radio podcast show called The Rundown to stay in touch with the fan base. However, the most iconic show they created was Dave's pizza review series, One Bite. Dave would travel around Massachusetts and eventually the whole country in search of the best pizza. He would take one bite of the slice and the crust and give it a rating from 1 to 10. After just a few episodes, Dave wisely made
Well,
One
he
Bite
just threw it away.
its own YouTube
What's the
channel,
point?
which became so popular that people started
Kevin.
recognizing him more as the pizza
See,
review
now.
guy rather than the owner of Barstool Sports Media. It was now 2016, 12 years after the brand was established, and Dave was still...
It is funny how you can tell like how empty the ideas were to make content on that channel. They had to make another like pizza review series as opposed to making another podcast about sports, which probably gets boring after 5 episodes.
Massive, but the brand recognition was unlike anything else at the time. Plus, they were known by literally everyone in Boston. Their words and blog write-ups pulsated throughout the city. Barstool was the politically incorrect and downright filthy sports network / men's lifestyle brand. But it had way too many moving parts than Dave knew how to handle, and he finally decided it was time to sell. Due to its website viewers and immense advertising potential, Barstool was able to sell 51% of the company to the Chernin Investment Group at a $10 to $15 million evaluation. The evaluation shocked everyone. Barstool was definitely big, but nobody thought it was $20 million big. Portnoy says he was able to put millions in his pocket while still pouring the majority
I guess rape jokes really do sell
into the business, and that's exactly what he did. But Barstool being acquired by a corporation was obviously going to change things. Slowly but surely, Dave would become closer to the traditional corporate sports network he wanted to destroy. A new CEO stepped in, Erica Nardini, to handle the company's financial direction, while Dave focused on content strategy. He knew he couldn't hold people's attention alone, so he scouted talent, and his mindset was simple.
Find creative people and let them do whatever the they want, and some hit and some don't.
They started filming what it was like
so
to
just throw the wall. That's a very good marketing strategy with $10 million. I like that.
Of what it's like to work at the Barstool office. They acquired Rough and Rowdy, which is a pay-per-view boxing / brawling event that mostly features highly untrained individuals sloppily scrapping for a cheap payday. They acquired Michael Rappaport.
That is, if he's hosted like midget boxing fights, that is the one gift he's given to this planet.
Infamous Rant series. Chicks in the Office started as an Instagram series featuring Barstool girls talking about pop culture. Caleb Presley was doing comedic on-the-street interviews. They acquired the Call Her Daddy podcast that was started by Alexandra Cooper and Sophia Franklin. 2018 was easily the most chaotic and experimental time for Barstool. They were launching multiple series ideas every week, testing personalities to see who the fans would gravitate towards. Spin Zone, Wine Walks, Chicks Being Chicks, Gooned Up, Healthy Scratches. They would come up with an idea, slap a name on it, and throw it at the wall to see if it sticks. But with the growth of the company meant that controversies that Dave thought were small would become huge news. In June of 2018, Portnoy said on Barstool Radio that Rhea Kufo, a 20-year-old on-camera Barstool personality, would not be able to put her face in front of a camera in 5 years because people will throw up. Disgusted by the headline, Rhea confronted Dave, asking him why he would make such a rude comment.
Are we going to talk about how Dave's ass is in the jackpot, or because he said that I'm going to look so gross in 5 years that people will puke on camera?
There's a chance I said that.
That is horrible.
Double jackpot.
Is really horrible.
I'm just
How do you want a company this big and the biggest drama you have to just like insulting your own employees or friends?
That is really aggressive. First of all,
Apologize.
I will not apologize.
Yes, my job is to work on camera. That's, what if I want to be working here in 5 years? I want to be on camera. I want to stay here.
Well,
so
maybe you have to go behind the camera.
Dave claims he was just joking, but Rhea stormed.
That would have blown some 12-year-old's mind.
Just made him even more mad.
Honestly, if you're gonna cry, then walk your ass out the door. I don't give a about that.
Dave went on to say if guys and girls want to be
boss.
treated the same in his company, then he will joke on them equally as hard. Barstool fans thought this was peak entertainment, but outsiders suspected that the company culture was extremely toxic. Portnoy also fired Michael Rappaport for insulting the Barstool Stoolies fan base on his podcast. With Rappaport being known as a loudmouth lunatic, Dave expected him to air this out on social media. Rappaport then challenged Dave
Put
to
on
a
a
boxing
shirt.
match, as well as posting this unpleasant photo, to which Dave responded by selling t-shirts with Michael's face dressed up as a clown with herpes. Rappaport couldn't take the heat and sued Dave.
What do you put alleged? Was there really a court case over whether or not that was herpes?
His life.
He's depicted as a clown.
A clown with herpes?
You said that, not me.
Rappaport lost the
okay, there we
lawsuit
go.
as there was no grounds for
I joked about it, and it
defamation.
actually did
The
happen.
workplace environment
God.
became such a large discussion on social media that Rafi Letzer, a staff writer at Live Science, tweeted encouraging Barstool sports employees to send him a private message about the unionization process. Dave replied that he would fire any Barstool employee on the spot if they DM'd him, to which U.S. Congresswoman AOC chimed in and let Dave know that his threats could land him in major legal trouble. All workers in the U.S. have the
How
protected
big is this
freedom to organize
gay
for
fight
conditions.
that someone from Congress had to step in?
This led to an investigation from the National Labor Relations Board. Dave, who is known to never apologize nor take back his word, deleted his threatening tweets, but did post a Union Buster shirt for sale. The ironic part about all of this controversy is
How
that
much
we
of a
don't even know
dweeb and like weak-spined fan do you have to be to buy that kind of shirt? Like the second he installs someone, he's already got a shirt fresh off the press. Do you have to buy it right
know if
then?
Barstool employees wanted to actually form a union in the first place. All of this workplace controversy just made Dave realize how different his company is now. Small jokes that were previously treated as just guys being guys can now become national news that led to investigations and lawsuits. He needed to drift away from his common man ways and be more professional. But Barstool had more momentum than ever. They launched the One Bite app where fans could rank pizzerias around the world after visiting them. The app gained 175,000 downloads in its first month. Barstool claimed that each review earns about 796,000 views per episode across their YouTube, Instagram, website, app, and other platforms. As you can imagine, this is extremely great marketing for small business pizzerias around the country, who would see immediate sales increases whenever Dave would post his
If
reviews.
this like man-child showed up to my front door of my shop, I would flip that sign to say closed.
To acquire a 36% stake in Barstool Sports for approximately $163 million in cash and convertible preferred stock, making the company worth about $450 million. Portnoy now only owned roughly 10% of the company, but he was filthy rich and had a multi-million-dollar machine backing him. To make things even better, the pandemic caused the entire world to be trapped inside, which made all of Barstool's content platforms exponentially increase. One Bite, Pardon My Take, BFF's podcast, Foreplay Golf, Call Her Daddy, Sunday Conversations, and every single Barstool original.
Are they like Rooster Teeth where they have like hundreds of podcasts under one big umbrella? Because it really seems like that.
Dave also introduced a charity fund to help small businesses impacted by COVID-related lockdowns. Two of the businesses chosen for the fund.
I was about to say that looks like the dumbest charity, but it did seem to raise almost 42 million, so I just respect that.
Is impacted by COVID-related.
That's quite a lot of money, Chris. I wouldn't expect the kind of fans to watch him directly donate money, but 42 million is quite a lot.
Restaurants that he had previously visited as a part of his pizza review program. In total, 2020 saw Portnoy raise nearly $30 million for 167 small businesses in the US. By the end of COVID lockdowns, Portnoy had raised more than $40 million for small businesses, which fundamentally changed the pizza industry. A year later, in a fundraiser called Viva La Troops, Barstool Sports raised about $200,000 for two veterans charities. President Donald Trump even requested Dave to interview him since his son was a big fan of Barstool. Many saw Portnoy as
Wait, Baron? Oh, of course that String Bean is a fan of Barstool, of course.
Before that, he did ask Trump rather basic questions related to social issues rather than having an in-depth discussion of policy, but just the interview alone made Dave's opposers angry. Dave does not identify as a Republican, nor does he feel responsible for the political viewpoints of his supporters. Portnoy believes that simply sitting down with Trump fundamentally changed his career and reputation for the worse. He believes he was unfairly categorized with the right.
If I was in issues, I would still sit down and shake hands firmly with Donald J. Trump.
Bothered left-wing media outlets. Even though the pandemic was the best thing to ever happen for Barstool Sports, he was about to be in the middle of non-stop controversy for the next few years. The first controversy would fundamentally change his common man reputation that he cherishes so dearly. At the very beginning of 2021, the infamous GameStop short squeeze was in full effect. Around 140% of GameStop's publicly available shares had been shorted by hedge fund billionaires. Basically, they would make billions of dollars as long as the GameStop stock price kept dropping, which led to a passionate subreddit, r/Wall Street Bets, encouraging everyone to purchase the shares in order to drive the stock price back up, which ended up making a lot of average Joe Schmo investors rich, and as a bonus, made some billionaires lose money. GameStop became overvalued by 1,000%, with the stock price in the $400.
This is the one story I want you to watch, watch a video on, because it's really interesting, and I want you to know more about it, because it is just mind-blowing.
Of GameStop stock, but they did allow people to sell it. This prevented entry-level stock traders from buying, which led to panic selling, so the stock price dropped exponentially. Retail traders around the world lost their money, and the billionaire hedge funds ended up making all of theirs back.
When I saw what Robinhood was doing, ironically, Robinhood take from the rich and give to the poor, even though they do the exact opposite, I was stunned. I think it's criminal. I think there has to be an investigation. I think people have to go to jail. Whether that actually happens, I don't know. But I've never been more convinced about market manipulation and the people, the hedge funds, controlling the game than today. I mean, just to wake up and say, hey, you can't trade these stocks anymore. You can only sell them. We're going to intentionally crash the market in these stocks. And everyone who has it, tough. you're going to lose a ton of money, but we're going to save the rich people and the hedge funds.
Portnoy went on various news outlets demanding an investigation into Robinhood, demanding that the Robinhood CEO admit that he was trying to protect his billionaire friends. Despite the rigging of...
To be fair, that is one aspect that you can get behind. Like having an investigation against Robinhood, that was pretty...
When you sell, they say. Retail investors around the world respected Dave's honor. He was their leader, using his platform to demand change from the obviously corrupt market. But just 3 short days later, Dave tweeted that he sold his shares in GameStop at a whopping $700,000 loss. The loss was okay for Portnoy, who was worth a cool $100 million, but all the average common men that saw...
That's still $700,000 you could have invested back.
A millionaire who is not willing to risk an insanely small percentage of his overabundance of wealth. Paper Hands Portnoy became his new nickname, and for the first time, his own fan base started second-guessing their support for the Prez.
If only I was a big enough trader to understand what that means.
Was about to get much worse. In November of 2021, Business Insider published an article claiming that the Barstool founder had subjected numerous young women to violent, humiliating sex acts. One female mentioned in the piece went by the name of...
Wait, you telling me this guy that built his entire career off it did that? No.
Portnoy's Instagram post, then he DM'd her. The discussion transitioned to Snapchat and text messaging, where the focus promptly shifted to the
that was automatically a trap when you went to Snapchat.
Videos of women he had been intimate with, and in the messages examined by Insider, persistently urged to disclose her own sexual fantasies. I mean, actually, this one's kind of common, wrote Madison, like a rape fantasy, where I don't have any control of what's going on. You and I are going to get along so well, Portnoy responded. The Barstool founder bought her a ticket to his home in Nantucket. According to Madison, the trip was a traumatic experience, with Portnoy pulling out his phone and filming her, without her permission, as she performed oral on him. The article continues to go into great detail about how rough and aggressive Dave was. At one point, the young woman recalled crying and shouting, too much, it hurts." Immediately when the article was posted, Dave emailed Business Insider inviting their writers onto the Dave Portnoy podcast to talk about the situation. They replied that they decline and are going to let the story speak for itself. So he responded to Madison's story with this video.
At no point, she came, she flew, we did have pizza, hung out, hooked up. At no point during it, at no point was it not 100% consensual. At no point.
Okay, you have to feel bad for him because he has sad puppy dog eyes. Come on, guys. He didn't mean to. It was in the heat of the moment.
Normal interaction, sexual, 100% consensual. My lawyer's like, don't make these blanket statements. I'm telling you now, her version of events is not true on our hookup. Just not true. Neither of us were like, oh, you shouldn't be doing it. It was 100 million% consensual. What's going on in her brain? I have no idea. Her actions, outward, all 100% normal. Wasn't alarmed, never thought about it. Now, after we hooked up, we were hanging out more, and it just became one of those situations where we disagreed basically on everything from, is it raining or sunny out? It was just oil and vinegar. Two people who did not get along, did not see the world the same way.
Dave was able to provide a screen recording of the girl's Instagram, who posted 3 photos at the time of this encounter. First, they can be seen playing Scrabble. She says, "Me beating Dave Portnoy in Scrabble." Then the next image, which Dave says is blurred because he doesn't want people to send hate her way, with a caption that read,
"Portnoy was a dick and lame and grumpy." I think grumpy is the exact line they use in the Business Insider, how she described me. "He gets a 2 of 10 from me. If he ever truly pisses me off, I have lots of content to expose him with. I'm gonna stick with athletes." She unleashed everything she had on me, okay? So I guess it's sexed but the story is made up. There is 0.0.0 truth to it. And even here, this is after we had sex. Is there any talk about assault? Any of the things she's saying running around?
Then a third photo is Dave and Donald Trump with the caption, "Not my proudest bang." He believes Business Insider wrote their story as if he was guilty of a crime even though they never accused him. The Insider article does not accuse him of rape since they could be sued. Instead, they used a quote from the girl saying it, quote, "felt like rape." The article highlighted another story of a 19-year-old named Allison who had a rough sexual
another one? God. I saw the 20-year-old was from the beginning when he mentioned her, but I guess he did it twice. 2 times.
He kept spitting in my mouth, which was really gross, Allison said. I was kind of scared. I didn't want to disappoint him. When her friends picked Allison up, they claimed that she couldn't even talk because she was in shock. However, Insider also wrote, Allison does not describe what happened to her as sexual assault, but said she was still deeply disturbed by the experience, but then went on to say that 3 days later she was hospitalized due to ending thoughts. Dave and many others pointed out that Business Insider wrote this article as if he did assault these women, when both of them say that everything was consensual. Dave then did a live stream on his YouTube channel where he spent 1 hour releasing evidence that he did not assault Allison and Madison, including the Instagram DM conversation between him and Allison. Allison was in Nantucket where Dave lived and asked him to hang out multiple times, to which he denied. Then on a different day she said, "Can we bang?" to which he replied, "Yes," and reassured her that if she didn't want to do anything, they wouldn't. After the hookup, Dave shows the two texting back and forth. Because Allison was hospitalized due to ending thoughts, her mother filed a police report. The police report did not prompt an investigation because, again, no crime was technically reported. In the report, the mother, who wanted her name to be anonymous, said that Dave Portnoy only hangs out with 18-year-old girls and asks them if they are willing to have intercourse with him. Then
even if it is like consensual, like he said, verifying the messages, it's so weird for you to be like a 40-year-old man and talk to him via Snapchat.
Of going to David Portnoy's house. The mother wouldn't give the daughter's name or tell the officer what happened. All she said that she wants to give us a heads up on David Portnoy's behaviors because she doesn't want this to happen to other young girls. Business Insider admits that they read this report before they published their
What kind of islands?
Portnoy and others see this police report as discernible proof that no crime was committed, nor was any crime even reported or accused, with the key words being something happened and the daughter has no memory. Additionally, Business Insider contacted Barstool
That's still like not a good sign.
Aware of the story they had posted about Dave and if there has been any discussions regarding those partnerships and ad placements. Dave believes he provided enough evidence to prove that this was nothing more than a hit piece, allegations with no backing that serve no purpose other than to assassinate his character. He then sued them for defamation, but a federal judge determined he didn't have enough evidence necessary to prove defamation claims. Detractors say that his text messages and even the police report don't prove his innocence, and victims are often too shocked and scared to perfectly report these types of crimes. Following the controversy,
that's a good point as well, especially if that 19-year-old went to hospital right after.
Pegged to its existing Barstool Fund. Specifically, the initiative has 4 parts. The first, titled Work Like a Girl, involves helping female-run businesses. The second, for veterans. The third, to support youth service. The fourth, to help people get clean from alcohol and drugs. These controversies have seemingly had no impact on the Barstool business. In fact, he bought the entire company back for $1. In February of 2023, Penn Gaming acquired 100% of Barstool Sports for $388 million. Since Penn made their first acquisition in 2020, they grew Barstool's audience 194% and recorded total podcast downloads of 1.6 billion. They delivered over 875,000.
All of that for just $1 to buy it back.
Over 128 billion video views and increase ad sales by 160%. But just a few months after Penn acquired the company, they sold it all back to Dave for $1. Because of Dave's extremely controversial past, Penn could not operate in the heavily regulated gambling industry. When they needed licenses to operate in certain states, they would be denied. Barstool was even banned from doing their college game day show because they were accused of promoting gambling to kids. Penn could not make necessary major business deals because of their ownership of Barstool and powerful people's hatred towards Dave. So Penn sold
I'm sure there's still like some left to the story, but did they just buy it off when they were already like so invested in gambling that when they bought it off, it immediately like them up for whatever gambling they had previously, that they had to sell it off because it was a huge mistake?
A major partnership with ESPN, rebranding to ESPN Bet. Dave Portnoy is officially the 100% owner of Barstool Sports today. I am never going to sell Barstool Sports ever. I'll hold it till I die. But the Wall Street Bets community doesn't believe he's gonna hold. Now he is facing the challenges of being the sole decision-making factor on hundreds of employees and managing millions of dollars and billions of views. Dave has proclaimed himself as uncancelable. He claims he has been a victim of baseless media attacks. He doesn't believe he has done anything wrong. He refuses to apologize for 99% of his words or actions, which has led to him securing the loyalty of millions of common men around the world. It seems as though the hatred towards him is stronger than ever.
Because I've seen the that you write.
By who?
And also
Say
your
it.
anti-union bullshit is disgusting.
Anti-union?
I hope you're
Anti-union? What the fuck? Do you know who I am?
rocks in the ground.
We're
just
20
like
years
you,
though.
Let me be a little clearer. Move on. Don't stand in front of my business.
Let me be clear.
I called it. I knew one guy would be angry at him.
You,
Dumb
it's
as
a
the year.
public street, motherfucker. Yeah, but
It's
this
a
is my
public
business.
street. This
You can-
ain't your business.
Yeah, but this is my business. And you can,
At the same
Who's that guy on the right doing nothing?
It's through these quarrels is what makes his fan base stronger. And if we're being honest, Barstool's media empire wouldn't be as massive as it is without the drama, headlines, and controversy. So it's up to you to decide if he's a villain in disguise of a common man, or if he's just unapologetically honest.
I agree. I think those two girls being raped did make it better because it did make the business bigger. So I think it had more ups than downs. No, but all jokes aside, honestly, that was like such a weird like story of some CEO of a massive company. Because most people like him that are like in his position of having companies that are worth millions would be somewhat more professional or come from like a more educated background. But he really did come from like the worst place possible of like just some college group that didn't give a shit about studying, just wanted to like party all day. So the fact that he was able to like turn that, print it out on newspaper, and somehow grow that to like the company it is now, it's so bizarre. I mean, every day there's always like new stuff that comes out of nowhere and grows to be massive, either out of nowhere or just like later down the line in the future. But it still doesn't change like how weird they are or how massive they became when you hear the story about them, like, and how they started. Like this guy Dave Portnoy, he's the one lucky guy that was able to survive by being like now apologetic and standing up for what he believes, even though like no matter how horrible it is either way. Most companies would flop after 1 year if the head CEO like had that kind of mindset. I think Barstool Sports is going to be so big that he can still like hold the company no matter like what kind of like he gets into the news. So I guess by this point he hasn't changed at all from like when he was in college. Like he's still some kid, but now he has millions of dollars with the company he has, and he has free reign over what they do and like what they sell and make money out of. So that's such like a weird idea. God.